So now we've come to probably the most complex exercise, exercise 4, Headers Analyzer. So first you need to go ahead and clone the repository to get the source code. Now what this extension does is it adds a passive scan check to report vulnerabilities that are found in HTTP security headers. Now your assignment is obviously you need to download the plugin. Now it's doing a scanner check, so you know that you need Burp Pro. You're going to target some sort of web application. Any will do. You'll see in the demo that I'll be going against Troy Hunt's Hack Yourself First site. You're going to scan that web application and notice any findings, looking for those missing headers or interesting headers. I want you to review the source code first before making the following changes. So, continuing with your assignment, I want you to modify that extension code and I want you to add a new header check. Now, this header check is going to check for HTTP public key pins, or HPKP. I want you to import the customized version of your Headers Analyzer plugin into Burp. Go to the Headers Analyzer tab to see that your new header is indeed being checked. Go ahead and scan a web application and notice the new findings. You should see checks for your new header. In addition, I would like for you to save the output to a file. And the plugin actually provides a way to do this. This is the answer key for exercise 4, Headers Analyzer extension. If you would like to see the original code and how it works, you can install that extension from the BApp store. You can target a vulnerable web application that you're authorized to assess, passively scan that target, and note the vulnerabilities found on the plugin. Then you should download the Python source code from the GitHub page that I noted. Modify that Python code to now include an HPKP header check and produce a report of the findings and save that to a file. This is the answer key for the Headers Analyzer Python exercise. So you were asked to add an additional column to this Headers Analyzer program. Let's go ahead and take a look at the changes that you needed to make. So in the initial declaration of the class and the register extender callbacks, everything is fine as is. When we come down to the extension unloaded, you'll notice that I have added an additional line here to accommodate the certificate key penning value. Now what you'll notice is in the answer key, I've identified the lines that I've added for the assignment to help you more easily find everything that was needed in order to fulfill the assignment. So let's continue with the changes. Under the extension loaded, I added this line in order to add our new header. Following the pattern, I also added it under the exception block. In the init GUI block, I also added the explicit name for the header, which is public key pins, HPKP. And you'll see this in the GUI as well when we run the demo. I also added that particular header to the layout, and I added it to the function onSelect. In the if statements for each header, I added a new section that allows us to assign this particular header to the bad headers array list. And that concludes all the changes that I made for this assignment. So now let's see how this particular extension runs against a live host. So let's go ahead and add our Burp extension. And you can see that we've got some debug statements here. You'll also notice that there's a new tab called Headers Analyzer. And you will notice the public key pins header, which I've added. And I've got that enabled. Now we need to run this against a live web application. So I'm going to use Troy Hunt's Hack Yourself First. So let's go ahead and go to that site. I'm just going to reload the page and see if I get some traffic into my extension, and it looks like I have. So already I can see that there are some interesting headers that were found, and there is a list of missing security headers, one of which is the new header that was added for our assignment. If we go back to the Target tab, you can see that these issues are now listed: lack or misconfiguration of security headers and interesting headers. So the last part of this assignment, I asked you to generate a report of your findings. If we go back to the Headers Analyzer tab, there's a button at the bottom of the output box that says Export in Report Friendly Format. Now before you click that button, go back to the Extender tab and set your output to save to a file. I already have an example here. It needs to be a TXT in order for it to format properly, and then go back to the Headers Analyzer tab and click the button. What that button does is it produces the output of that UI window that we saw, gathering for us all of the missing headers or misconfigured headers. So hopefully you learned a lot by doing this exercise, and your confidence in building plugins in Python is now at a very high level. So in this module, you had to do 4 Python extension exercises. 3 of those were from some sample code from Portswigger, and 1 was a plugin from the community. In our next module, we're going to look at how burp automation can be used in the DevOps lifecycle.